I'd like to say welcome to everyone. Glad to be back this week.
No snow music today.
No snow music. Thank you, Mary. See, I've already lost it. I forgot to share my screen. Okay, our invocation this morning is with Denise Cuny. Thanks, Denise.
Prayer, please. Lord, we just come to you and realize today that our world is really turned upside down in so many ways, but you remain the same. And in times of trouble and confusion, you tell us to come to us. You tell us to come to you, and you will never leave us or forsake us. Thank you, Father, that you're that kind of God, and that you encourage us to walk with you each day. And as we walk with you, Lord, I just pray that we would be encouraged to serve each other, as our motto in Rotary says. And I especially want to thank you for Alexis and her work with CCFI. What a great organization, and how they're serving the community. So Lord, just fill us up with every good thing today. We just praise you for great weather, although we wish it would be a little bit cooler for Thanksgiving. And we love you so much. Watch over each of our members, and especially those that could not be here this day. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Denise.
Welcome.
With our Pledge of Allegiance and 4-way test, we have April Hypel.
Okay, and join me in saluting our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, April. Okay, do we have any happy dollars this morning?
I'll do one.
Okay, Keith.
It's happy to see your smiling face back, Donna, and
thank you.
wishing you the best.
Thanks, Keith.
I'll do a second one. Is it time to talk about, oh, you've got it on the list down there. Okay, I'll wait till it's my turn to talk about bell ringing.
No, you can talk about it now. That's fine.
Well, I think I have, counted last night, I think I have 20 signups. I need a total of 76 volunteers. So we're a long ways from getting slots filled. The most important slot, obviously, is the first one, November 28th, which in a way sounds like a long ways away, but it's less than 2 weeks away. So I really need help on that one. I've got 7 slots open on the 28th, and starting from 3:30 in the afternoon down to closing. Everything else above is full. This is a lot easier to do in person when we were having in-person meetings. And I will send out another email after this meeting today, but please take a look at your schedules. Take a look at the forms that I emailed out or that I will be emailing. It's going to take certain of us volunteering 3, 4, 5 times maybe, or volunteering for some 2-hour slots instead of 1-hour slots. For those of you that are new and haven't experienced this great experience before, you are welcome to bring, all of these are going to be at Sam's. You're welcome to bring grandchildren, children, dogs that are behaved. Typically at Sam's, we're inside the first doors before you go into the main store. I talked to Farouk yesterday briefly. Farouk is the manager of Sam's, for those of you that don't know. He will probably come up with some incentive for us to be there, maybe, hot dog or drink from the canteen like we did last year, but handled a little bit differently. And he said, he'll take care of us in a good way. So I don't want to be a pest about this, but I'm going to have to be probably for a few days. And again, the most important slot is November 28th, but all of them are important. And obviously we need to mask up and have a good time. And are there any questions, particularly from newer members or people that haven't experienced this? And no question is stupid, because for those of you that knew, it's just a new deal. Any questions?
Hey, Keith,
Yes.
you just, this is Cliff. Just stick me in there on that 28th where it'll help. And just let me know. I'll look on the list.
Okay. Do you prefer, and I don't want to take up a lot of time, John, in doing this, but do you prefer, Cliff, like the closing time, or do you prefer something before that? Closing time takes you to 8 o'clock.
The closing time is fine for me.
Okay. And I'm going to put you down
I think I'll volunteer for you.
from the 7 to 8 slot on the 28th of November.
Okay,
And I will confirm that with an email, but thank you.
you bet.
Yeah, Keith,
Yes.
Sam, just put me down for the same slot on each day.
Okay. That's 12 to 1 on each day, Sam.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you. Actually, I think maybe one of those.
No, that's okay. I'm flexible.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. One of the slots from 12 to 1 are filled already, but the rest of them are not. So
Okay.
I have 3 12 to 1s, and I'll let you know on the other one. Thank you.
Can you bring your own bell?
Your bell or belt?
Bell.
Sure. You got a cowbell or something?
Yeah, bring your own voice.
Yeah. You probably better not try that, Kevin, on bringing your own bell. We want to stay in good graces with Farouk and the folks at Sam's.
Yeah. No air horns either.
Bell ringing is always one of the most fun activities, I think. It gives you a great opportunity to get to know your fellow Rotarians better and just have a good time. And you're always impressed and your heart's warmed by the generosity of the people. So please sign up.
That's another thing, Jonna, that I didn't say. For those of you that haven't done this, the way the signups work and the way the slots work, it's a staggered slot. They're 1 hour. And if you ring from 3:30 to 4:30, you will be ringing with 2 other Rotarians on half hours on each side of you. From 3:30 to 4, there will be one, and from 3:30 to 4:30, there will be another Rotarian with you. So it's staggered, and so you get to spend a minimum of 30 minutes with 2 different Rotarians to get to know them better and tell your stories and have your jokes. And I love Sam's because you see so many people that you recognize and know, even with the mask on. So again, please take a look at this and help Sooner Rotary fill the slots and help Salvation Army earn some money.
And some members bring their pets and grandchildren to help ring bells.
I did say that, CE, but it doesn't hurt to reiterate that. You were probably off getting your coffee.
I was told by one of the people from the Salvation Army a couple of years ago that costumes increase money. If you have somebody there playing an instrument or singing, it increases the money, the donations. And they said if it's lightly snowing, but that's out of our control. And I don't know that David's with us today, but
Maybe
but
David could work on that.
yeah, we'll ask David to work on that. But costumes, children, and producing music increases the donations.
Wanted to-
Go ahead.
This is Virginia, and I'm not sure if you said if you're going to come to happy hour on Monday, if you'll let me know. Othello's was kind of wanting to get a head count. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. In the announcements, we've still got Breakfast Buddies is hosted this Thursday, November 19th by Bob Dill, and that's at Cracker Barrel at 7 a.m. And Bob, did you have any other comments on that, or just do they need to contact you to sign up?
So a little contact back on who may be able to attend would be great. It would help us a little bit get set up. But everybody's welcome. 7 o'clock Thursday morning, Cracker Barrel. We'll try to follow some distancing and other protocols with regard to the COVID matter, but I think we'll have a good time. So everybody come out 7 o'clock Thursday morning, Cracker Barrel.
Great. Thank you, Team 3. And Virginia, as you said, happy hour at Othello's on Monday. Get a little loosened up before the holiday, no matter what it's going to look like. And Virginia, you said to contact you to.
Yeah, if you could RSVP to me. If the weather's nice, they've got some heaters. We'll stay on the patio. If not, they'll find a spot for us inside. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Great.
you.
Great. Are there any other announcements?
John, I sent you one, a direct message. I don't know when you want to share that, but did you see that?
Yeah, go ahead and share it now, Keith, and then I'll talk about another one.
Sorry? What'd you say? Share it
Yeah,
now?
go ahead and share now.
Okay. I had a text from Lynn Miller yesterday, and Mary had talked about several times about her back surgery and she was doing well. On Monday, the 9th, she passed out, fell down, broke her ankle. And she had ankle surgery on Saturday, and then she says we'll have a long recovery. I haven't talked to her, and that was the extent of the text. But
Mary who?
Marry me.
Mary Salee, yeah.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even know. Okay, thank you.
She,
But this-
yeah, I gave the good report on Tuesday, and then I found out like hours later that she had passed out right next to her walker. And then she went to the orthopedic doctor about that, and she passed out there again. So they put her in the hospital. And like he said, she had surgery. I was texting her this morning. She was supposed to come home yesterday or maybe today at the latest. So I'll see what I can find out, maybe send an email out. Does anybody have an update on the USREs? Because I heard.
That's what I was going to mention, Mary.
Okay.
Of course, Jonathan said he talked to Bob yesterday. I received a text from Bob yesterday, and I had texted Ellen on day before that. Can't remember what day it is. Bob and Ellen both have COVID. I know Bob contracted it, I think about a little over a week ago, and it's hit him really hard. He has asthma, and so he said he probably wouldn't make the meeting today. He was really struggling, and Jonathan mentioned earlier, he talked to him yesterday and said yesterday was his worst day so far. So I know Ellen said no taste, no sense of smell, just lots of weakness, and just hate to hear that. Both Lynn and the Usseries. Just hate to hear of them suffering. So if anybody hears of anybody else, you know, I think it's important for us to share and support each other.
You guys
Oh.
might send a card, you know, if you can't visit in person, or I think we've got food taken care of for a while, but a little card might be nice just to hear from folks.
You bet. Card.
Are you talking about Lynn bringing, she doesn't need food? She does need food?
No, I think she's okay between her church, and then I was going to bring stuff. We all had to throw it in the freezer because she went back in the hospital. But
Okay.
it's going to be a long haul, so we'll probably come to you later about food.
Okay, please.
Lynn also has one of her children living with her right now as they complete a new home. So I'm sure that they're helping with the food situation as well when she gets home, or when she is home.
Do we have any other announcements? Okay.
Oh, I had one thing I wanted to ask April if she's still on.
Okay.
Been talking to homeless here and there that are requesting sleeping bags and blankets. How's the supply at Food and Shelter holding out?
We don't currently have any sleeping bags at all. We have a small stash of these kind of waterproof fleece blankets that we got from a car dealership here in town. But we don't have any sleeping bags at all. We could really use stuff like that because right now it's not looking to, like, the city's going to open their winter shelter until maybe into December.
Oh, God.
So, and it's getting really cold out at night. So yeah, sleeping bags would be very helpful.
So I did come across this. Can you all see that?
Oh yeah, that's one of our little volunteers. Yeah.
So if you can't get over to Food and Shelter, we heard from Love Works earlier in the year, and I believe that's where you can drop them off and they'll take them over to April. But that's for their December. They do a birthday celebration at the shelter for adults in December. But I'm sure if they had more that you guys could give them out to requests. I know Steve Warren is really wanting that kind of stuff too, because we heard from him earlier in the fall, and he goes out to the homeless camps and everywhere, and he feels bad when he runs out and doesn't have any more to give. So just throwing that out there, winter coats, all that kind of stuff you can take to the shelter, or let me know and I'll get them to Steve Warren. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, you all. That's great. All right, I had myself muted, the cough. Today, our speaker is going to be Lexi Lux, the CEO for the Center for Children and Families. And welcome, Lexi. Sorry, I forgot to grab your bio. And so I'll first ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you wound up here in Oklahoma and at the CCFI.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. And I just have a short little PowerPoint sometime if I can.
You can share the screen anytime.
Okay, perfect. Let me get that pulled up. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces. April and I are basically agency neighbors, kind of butting up on the same street, and I see lots of familiar names that have been donors and supporters to CCFI for so many years, and so thank you so very much. Let me Are you able to see my screen? Okay,
Good.
perfect. So I'm originally from Northeast Ohio and lived there for about 30 years. And for those of you that have been to Northeast Ohio, you may, I joke that you may know why I left. We got snow around Halloween every year and only about 100 days of sun. And then the snow lasted until, and so the last year I left in March, there was 3 foot of snow and we did a outdoor walkathon fundraiser. And I thought, that is my breaking point. I need somewhere with more sunshine, and kind of researched all over the country and found and fell in love with Oklahoma, with the cost of living, with the people, and with the sunshine. I can put up with some tornadoes. There is more than enough warning on that, but I needed some sunshine. I've been in fundraising as a field for about 15 or so years, and I started with CCFI about a year ago. My husband has been running OIDS, the Oklahoma Indigent Defense System, and he's been with them for quite a few years, down in downtown Norman in the old Vista building. And most recently, I was at the YMCA up in Oklahoma City, leading all of their fundraising. And we kind of covered Chickasha to Guthrie to Stillwater, all around that area, and then worked with Joe and the folks down in Norman. So I was familiar with CCFI, but had lived up in Oklahoma City for quite a few years. We live in South OKC now, but we both commute and work about half a mile from each other. So there's the background bio. I would love, let me make my screen a little bigger. If you all could raise your hand if you've heard of CCFI or know anything about CCFI. And then keep it right. Thank you all. Some virtual ones, some logoed ones. And then can you raise your hand if you've been in our, I still call it a new facility because it's beautiful and it feels new. And I've worked at a lot of nonprofits that don't have a facility like that, but been to our newish facility there on Cockrell. Perfect. Okay. So CCFI has been around for over 50 years. In Norman, we were originally called JSI, and our logo has changed and our different programs have changed over those 50 years. But all of the Rotaries Norman Rotaries have donated tens of thousands of dollars over the years to help get us in the building, to help our programs. And we are eternally grateful for that. Kind of our mission is there at the bottom: healing children, empowering youth, and strengthening families. Because we believe that every child deserves to grow up safe, nurtured, and loved. Like that smiling little nugget sitting on Jonathan's lap. That's why we are all here doing what we're doing, to make sure that our community. We're serving mostly Norman, but we do have some folks up into South Oklahoma City, or even up closer towards Piedmont, all over the metro or South Metro area. So in our first kind of bucket or umbrella is healing children. And we know that our kids pre-COVID, post-COVID, and going forward are experiencing all kinds of abuse, neglect, different types of trauma. And so we have found the best way for us to be able to meet that need is through our counseling program. And in the last year, we've had close to 25,000 different counseling sessions. We focus primarily on individual sessions with kiddos, but we also do family therapy session where we, sometimes it's the kids with the parents, foster parents, biological parents, adopted parents, or sometimes it's just with the adults in conversations about how to interact with their kiddos. We, as you can imagine, the need for mental health and addressing all of that has gone up during COVID. And so we have a team of 7 counselors. It's a combination of licensed social workers and then licensed therapists and counselors. So each of those have an average of about 15 years of experience, some with infant mental health experience, some with an autism focus, but all of them have worked through trauma and some really tough cases with kiddos. So one just came on board this week, and then one came on board about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So there's just been so much of a need that we needed to add more folks to our team. And we hate the idea of having to turn anyone away. The next umbrella per se is empowering youth. And so we do that mainly through our Boys and Girls Club of Norman. We used to operate the neighborhood centers, and then about 5 years ago, we took that concept and then aligned with the National Organization of Boys and Girls Clubs of America to form Boys and Girls Club of Norman. I'm still doing the same type of thing, but being able to tap into their network of resources. And during COVID, for those of you that have kiddos in Norman Public Schools or frankly any schools, know that there was a huge need towards the beginning of this fall of what to do with kids during the day, all day long, if their parents were working, if they couldn't get online. And so we were fortunate to be able to partner with the Department of Human Services through the state. They received a quite large grant, CARES Act dollar grant, and they created community hope centers. So we are one of 42 community hope centers throughout the state. And we are with social distancing. Normally we would serve around 100 kiddos a day after school, Monday through Friday, which is about 20 hours of programming time with the kids, which is great and helpful. But during COVID, we have now moved, kind of set up individual, those of you that have been to the building, we have some individual classrooms. We also have some larger spaces, and we divided them out. The staff are masked, the kids are masked, as you can see in some of the photos, but we're able to see about 60 kids a day instead of the 100, just to keep those distance measures. But we are seeing kids for up to 45 hours a week instead of 20 hours a week. Right, some of those kids are in school, but we have virtual learners that are there all day. And then if any of their classrooms or their schools close and they're at home, they're able to come and be with us all day. We partnered with the regional food bank, and we're able to provide at no cost to us or cost to them, free lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack. And then through our CARES Act funding, we just started sending home boxes of food for the weekend. So we know that we're able to meet that need for food, but the beauty of our organization all being in one facility is those kids that need it basically right down the hall is a counselor that can work through some tough situations with them. We also have the playground outside that if they just need to get out and run out the wiggles, they can do that as well. So we've been designated the Community Hope Center and have some funding secured through that through the end of December. And we're just continuing to work with the schools and see what that is like. And no one knows what next week is going to be like, let alone what January or February is going to bring. But we are committed to serving as many kids safely as possible as we can in whatever times are needed, if that's after school or if that is all day and after school. Then the last, and then after this, I'd love to take any questions about any of our programs. But the last overview umbrella is really strengthening families. And so that's where we know that we can impact the child, but that's really driven, a 6-year-old can only impact their future so much that we need to really get in and have those tough conversations with those families. So if that is parenting classes for divorcing parents, if that is supervised exchanges and visitations. I know a lot of you have probably heard stories of exchanges having to happen at the police department or in parking lots of places. And sometimes that's safe, but sometimes that's scary for kiddos. And so we have a facility that is safe and clean and appropriate, and where those family members can drop off their child and leave before the next person comes in, and then work that offending to seeing the child for longer periods of time through our observation playrooms, and then working up to overnight visits. We also have a diaper pantry. That's, one second. That's probably our most visible, easiest entry, no barrier. You don't have to fill out a whole bunch of forms or paperwork or anything. If you have a kiddo, and you don't have to be in Cleveland County, but if you have a kiddo that is in diapers and you need some diapers and wipes, come by our baby pantry. And you can come every other day if you want, or you can come once a month. Throughout the past year, we've been able to distribute close to 50,000 diapers. So we've had some great organizations that have done drives for diapers and wipes. The police department right now is doing a Fill the Cruiser, where they're stuffing it full of thousands of diapers for us that then we can distribute out to the community. We also have a Bringing Up Babies program that is through the Parents as Teachers model, where we go in. It's been home visits in the past. Through COVID, they're Zoom visits, as you can imagine, but it's really in-depth kind of one-on-one training with one of our counselors and a first-time parent, or they could be a younger parent that is just trying to get those basic skills and needs, from feeding their child to developmental milestones. So it goes from birth to 5 years old. And we have done close to about 200 of those visits in the past year. And then we also have group sessions with those new moms, or sometimes they're new dads, where they're interacting and learning from each other. And all different kinds of parenting classes. Some are court ordered, some are one time to a 2-hour session, some are a 16-week session, just depending on the needs of the parents, whether they have come on their own to make them a stronger, better parent, or working with their spouse or former spouse. And then we also do a ton of collaboration with the other nonprofits in Norman, but then in the city with Virtue Center, Crossroads, or Bethesda. We're on a multidisciplinary team with Mary Abbott and the police department and DHS, where there's a lot of overlap between our clients. So we're making sure to best serve them. Our volunteer times look a little different right now than they have in the past. We do have some volunteers and that are physically in the building, but some of those are doing some more virtual volunteer work, or as we got the playground ready, doing some outside volunteer work. And that's kind of there's our just basic contact information. My email is alux, ALUX, at ccfinorman.org. And I would love to answer any questions or chat with you a little more about COVID or what. I don't want to do so elementary if all of you have been to our facility 100 times over. So.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
With the COVID situation and all the families and children and people that pass through or come near you, and you talked about the diaper thing where they can come on in, have you encountered any problems other than typical, just fewer people, I guess?
Yeah, thank you, Keith. And I should have said, we right now have we may need to revisit this as the weather gets colder, but our front door, under where our name sign is, we have a door to the Boys and Girls Club around the corner. But the main entrance door is locked. We're fully staffed inside and socially distanced and spread out. But we have a doorbell. And so we just ask if anyone is coming to pick up the diaper needs, they can call us ahead of time and let us know the size, or they can just come by and ring the doorbell and tell us the size. And then one of the staff members kind of package it up in a little sack and take it out and give it to them. So those folks aren't coming in the building right now. We are seeing, if we're obviously seeing the kiddos in the other side of the Boys and Girls Club. So we're doing daily temperature checks and having everyone sign a COVID oath. Actually, when anyone does come in the building, in their temperature and asking some screening questions. So I am knocking on wood if you can't hear me. We have not had a serious outbreak. We do have quite a few students that are work study or part-time. And so there have been some folks who have been exposed to COVID and then have quarantined, but our lobby per se is not full of 20 clients waiting. When we do have clients come for a counseling, they just buzz in on the doorbell, and then their counselor or a front desk staff member will go and run them through the COVID exposure questions. We have plexiglass screens where they're able to sit further away. We're still doing a ton of our counseling sessions via Zoom. Our staff are able to see them in person, but most of them are more comfortable doing it via Zoom.
Thank you.
Sure.
Lexi, do you have a lot of parents who come in for counseling voluntarily? I think I just think about social stigma and the thought that people don't want to admit that they need help. You know, sometimes in order to do it, they'll do it, but I just wonder how much volunteer counseling.
Yeah, I do. There have been some really tough, awful, terrible things with COVID, and kids that have been exposed to see things, and parents that haven't been able to pay bills. And I mean, all of us were probably without toilet paper at some point during this debacle. So I do think one thing that has happened with COVID is that it has destigmatized mental health. But I don't come from a mental health background. I come from a fundraising background. But I can even remember years ago people saying, "Oh, I'm going to take a mental health day," or "Oh, I need to get in a good spot." But I think it's even more relevant now as people are realizing, even if you have a good job and a car and heat in your house and food in your pantry, it's still tough. So if you don't have all of those things, you can't even begin to imagine all of the pressure and stress. So I do feel like people are coming to us more on their own now, or seeing their kiddos and how they're reacting or not reacting to the situation. But for those of you that have been in a relationship that has ended in Oklahoma, if you have kids under the age of 18 and you're divorcing, whether it's a great situation or a really contentious situation, you're required to take a 2 or 3 hour class, and there's all different ways to do that, virtually, in person, all different providers. So we have some families that come to us that way and then realize that we take private insurance, we take Sooner Care with all the new Medicaid expansion that's coming on down the pike. So that's more individualized counseling sessions, but then we also have folks that are just, whether if they don't get into full-on counseling, but they feel comfortable speaking in a group with other parents who are trying to work through visitation issues with and just collaborate with other families that are going through the same thing. So a lot of, and then speaking from the true counseling, what you would envision sitting in an office with a therapist or a social worker, a lot of those stem from referrals that we're working with the kids, either from the school or kids that are in the club that are having some behavior issues, that then after we're meeting with the kids and communicating with the parents, that turns into, if we can kind of that whole family model wraparound services and get those parents involved.
Okay, thanks. Other questions? I have another question.
Okay.
When you mentioned sending food home, you
Yeah.
said that comes through the regional food bank?
Yes, so we have had a great partnership with the food bank up in Oklahoma City for quite a few years. And so with the onset of COVID and all of the food bank drop-off sites, they provide us with free breakfast, lunch, dinner, and daily snacks for the kids. They actually are kind of at capacity right now, that they're not able to, because we were part of their backpack program originally, that they're just pulled in so many different directions that they're not able to partner with us for the food that is going home off-site with the kiddos. Through our partnership with VHS and the CARES Act dollars, we sent our staff on a mini food shopping spree, for lack of a better word, and had about 12 families that had signed up last week for the weekend boxes. And so we went, I think they went to Sam's Club this past week, but they'll probably spread it around to different grocery stores and bought boxes of pancake mix and jugs of orange juice and juice boxes and some apples and bananas and fresh fruit, just for those kiddos to and their families to take home. So currently we'll be purchasing that, and we have the funds to do that through the end of December.
Okay. I hate to hear about so much food insecurity in our community, but I know I've heard about the backpack program, and I think is that through the schools and the counselors maybe?
I think so. I know, and certainly anyone can set up their own backpack program. The regional food bank has a really robust one, but they were just looking at having to distribute so much food to so many sites that they said, if you have the funds and you can buy it on the weekend, we can get it delivered to you for the meals that are actually in we have a full-on commercial grade kitchen and cafeteria that we can spread kids out in the building. And so they come in with hot food that, or cold food that we can warm up for dinner, depending on when it's delivered and what the meal is. And then individual bags of goldfish and fresh fruit and snacks and things for them. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we can't control right now, but getting food into the hands of kiddos or diapers on wet babies, those are some things that we can help with and we can control.
That's awesome. Other questions? Anybody else? Well, Lexi, I appreciate you being with us today and sharing with us about CCFI and all you guys do. And gosh, you know, I appreciate you're taking care of the children, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for, as a Rotary, continuing to support us and so many other agencies in Norman. And then individually, I know a lot of you have contributed to CCFI over the years, and we are just truly grateful. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, Rotarians.
Sam, great presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely. Before we leave today, I just want to reach out and thank Jane for covering for me last week very much. I appreciate that. She covered both for the meeting and for the board meeting on Friday. And hopefully I won't have to call on her a bunch in the future, but who knows? So she was just so glad to not be president anymore, and surprise. So, but Rotarians, please have a great week and go out and open the opportunities.
Have a good week, Jonah. So good to see you.
Thanks. Good to see everybody.
Take a look at your bell ringing schedules, please. I need the help.
Definitely.